As humans, we live according to different cycles and rhythms in nature. Most people probably already know about the circadian rhythm, which is our personal 24-ish hour clock. But our circadian rhythm is not the only rhythm or cycle that we are influenced by as humans. There is also the infradian rhythm, which you could say is basically anything longer than 24 hours. So think of the seasons. I mean, have you ever noticed that you feel slightly different depending on the season? You probably feel different in summer than you do in winter. I know that I certainly do. Or even more noticeable for women is our menstrual cycle, which is probably the most well-known infradian rhythm. I actually did an entire video on our menstrual cycle and how it affects our energy levels or our mood and how you can work with it instead of against it. So if that is something that's interesting to you, make sure to go watch that video after this one. I'll make sure to have it linked for you. But here's the thing with these natural cycles that we tend to go through as humans. These infradian rhythms tend to influence us more than we typically give them credit for, which is a shame because they are actually a very big part of our life. They can actually have a very big impact on our overall health, our hormonal cycles, and even our mood and behavior. So I would say that it is worth it to know a little bit about infradian rhythms. Like I said, I already did an entire video on the menstrual cycle, so I won't be going too much into that specific rhythm. Today I want to look more into the seasonal rhythms, the seasonal infradian cycle. So spring, summer, autumn, and winter. If you have seen my cycle syncing video, then you may have noticed that I linked different parts of our cycle to the different seasons and even to the moon phases. And that is because you could say that the energy of all of these cycles is actually pretty similar. They develop in a similar way each cycle and they affect us in a similar way, just on a different scale. So in this specific video, we are going to go through each season. We are going to talk about the overall feel and energy of the season. And I will be giving you some tips to align your body with the season to really optimize your hormonal health, your energy levels, and just your overall health and happiness. So without further ado, let's get into spring. So spring is all about renewal. It's the perfect time for starting new projects. There is a certain freshness, fresh energy to spring, which means that spring is the perfect time for fresh starts. Also, there is this growth happening in spring, like you can see all around you in spring, really. So a growth mindset is definitely beneficial in spring. Let's take a look at how you can take care of your body in spring. So in spring, it is a good idea to consume lighter foods, more greens, and definitely make sure to hydrate your body properly, which of course is important all year round. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to say that eating seasonal produce is the easiest way to kind of make sure that you nourish your body in the most optimal way for you during that season. Local and seasonal produce is basically just nature's way of sharing what you're going to be needing that season. That is how I see it. And it also makes eating more fun because there are these specific types of produce that you can just get during a certain season and you can really look forward to those. So lighter foods, more greens, and just in general make sure for each season to focus on the produce that is in season right then and locally to you. When it comes to movement, in spring we are slowly going to increase the intensity of movements. So a brisk walk, also dancing, hikes, anything to slowly get your blood pumping again. Slowly get out of that winter rut. When it comes to your mindset, your mind, like I said, spring is all about a fresh start. So beginning a new project is the perfect way to honor spring. It is also a good time to revisit your goals that you may have set anywhere throughout the year, but most likely around New Year's. And also just to try something new. If there's something that you've always wanted to try, spring is the perfect time to do so. So how to kind of embody that spring energy? A big, very well-known thing is obviously spring cleaning. But when I say spring cleaning, I don't just mean cleaning your house and decluttering, which definitely something to do in spring, for sure. But besides decluttering and cleaning your physical space, it's also a good idea to take a look at your mental space. So take a look at your mind, how to kind of freshen that up. Take a look at your routines. Can you kind of spring clean your routines, if you will? And then also just open up your windows. The weather is starting to get nicer, so let that lovely fresh air in and get some sunlight. Go outside, enjoy that beautiful fresh air and sunlight that spring has to offer. And then when it comes to the emotional side of spring is the perfect time to really lean into any optimism. I mean, how can you not be happy with the sun coming out more often? Definitely here in the Netherlands, that is lovely, I can tell you that. Also curiosity, hope, like I said, fresh new beginnings, growth. Spring is actually the perfect time to start any manifestation work that you might be interested in. Let me know if you would like to see a video on that, because I would actually love to do a video on manifestation. So if that is something that is interesting to you, make sure to leave that in the comments and I can do an entire video on how to do that, because hey, it's spring. So like I said, perfect time to do so. And with that, let's move to summer. Alright, summer is all about connection, expansion and expression. So looking for those social connections, this is the time of the year to enjoy those social activities, but also to express yourself, to enjoy that high in creativity that summer tends to come with. So how can you support your body during summer? We all know summer stands for heat. I know not all places have distinct seasons, but for most of us summer is going to be hotter than the other seasons. So what we want to do is kind of help our system to cool down a little bit. So enjoy cooling, hydrating foods in summer is the best way to go. So really enjoying your fruits. This is the time of the year to enjoy raw vegetables, if that is something that you like eating. Now, I will be honest, raw vegetables are not for everyone, especially if you're more interested in like the Ayurveda perspective of this. Raw vegetables are something to really see if they actually suit you. But if there's a time of year, then summer is the time to really enjoy those. So enjoy your salads, enjoy your fruits. Obviously drink enough water, but also really nice cooling drinks can be peppermint tea, for example, or water with peppermint or lemon in them. Lovely drinks for summer. Also make sure to stay active. I mean, energy is high in summer, but also balance it with enough rest in the heat. So I would personally say that the bursts of activity are probably better planned in the cooler hours of the day, so maybe more towards the morning or later on the day rather than the middle of the day, which is typically the warmest. But during those really hot hours, make sure you also take the time to rest, because it can also take quite a bit of energy from your body to keep itself cool during those times. So like I said, movement-wise, summer is your peak. It is basically your peak in a lot of things, I guess. There is a lot of physical energy in summer, and this is the perfect time to really go in on your cardio. Also, outdoor activities are obviously perfect in summer, so going for those hikes or outdoor adventures, maybe enjoying that morning run when the air is still nice and fresh before it gets too hazy. Let's move on to mindset and taking care of our mind in summer. Summer is the time to get social. Like I said, this is the perfect time to make those social plans that you've been looking forward to all year. Go for the picnic, go for a boat ride, like do whatever it is you like. But spending time together with other people is definitely a good idea in summer. But it's also a time where creativity is really high, so expressing your creativity is actually a really good idea in summer. So those projects that you started to work on in spring, really let them flower and flow in summer. Like, bring them out. Whatever you've been planning, make it come true during this season. This is your season to shine. This is your season to be bold, to be expansive. Not expensive, but expanding. You know? So say yes to the fun. Really enjoy this time of the year when everything just feels a lot lighter, more fun, and just, well, more sunny really. Then when it comes to the energy of summer, like I said, it's your time to get outside. Soak in those lovely long days from the earlier mornings, which are typically my favorite part of these days, when there is still a certain freshness in the air. But also enjoy those longer evenings, maybe enjoy a barbecue or just a nice meal outside together. Summer is also your time to collaborate with other people. Like I said, it is the most social time. So create, collaborate, and celebrate. That would be a perfect summary for summer. Let's move on to autumn. So in autumn, our theme is releasing, refining, and then also just preparing for rest. So see what things you can let go of in autumn, refining your work that you've done in spring, in summer, and preparing for rest, really just like the name suggests. So what can you do to support your body during this time of the year? In autumn, it's actually really important to start really eating and enjoying those warming, nourishing meals again. Meals are starting to get a bit heavier and more moist, if you will, which is so beneficial for your body during this time of the year. Also bringing some more spices into your food. So whereas summer and spring were really more about the fresh herbs, spices are definitely going to support you during the cooler months. So think about cinnamon and ginger, which can be lovely and warming, and also actually help to support your immune system, which is also important to do in autumn, because we all know that bugs can kind of get around in autumn and you're more likely to get sick. We all know that, right? So supporting your body through movement in autumn, we are going to be slowing down a little bit again. So focusing more on strength training, on mindful movement, rather than the explosion of energy, if you will, that was more beneficial during spring and summer. Then when it comes to your mind during autumn, this is the time to let go of what is no longer serving you, and also just to reflect on what you have grown this year. Autumn is traditionally a time for harvest, so what are the things that you have grown during this year and that you can kind of start harvesting now? What are you actually seeing in your life that is the effect of the things that you have poured energy into in spring and summer? Just reflect back on what you've worked on and what that has brought you. When it comes to your emotions, really let yourself feel whatever comes up. It can actually be really beneficial for you during this time of the year to really ground yourself into your own rhythms and routines. Journaling can also be a super powerful practice during this time of the year, to not only help you discover what no longer serves you, but also to help you let go of those things. So putting thoughts on paper can be super beneficial in helping you that way. And then when it comes to your energy and the energy of autumn, the energy is starting to turn more inwards. Like you can see everywhere around you. I mean, leaves are turning color and then the trees are letting them go. So this is really the perfect time to really cozy up at home. It is important to kind of protect your energy during this time of the year. So where summer was super outgoing, slowly start to maybe take a step back and really reflect on what are things are that actually bring you energy, and what are things that during this time of the year maybe you are going to say no to really make space for the things that actually do bring you energy. Because you might notice that during this time of the year, your energy levels are just starting to kind of come down a little bit, especially after the high of summer. With that, let's get on to winter. So winter is all about rest, reflection, and renewal. So really taking the time for that deep self-care. Humans are not one to hibernate, but really see this as your hibernation period. So how can you support your body during winter? Like I said, really prioritize rest. Focus on that lovely long night of deep sleep, and also again really nice warming, moist, grounding foods like soups, stews, and also just root vegetables. I think for most people you are really going to see those root vegetables as a seasonal vegetable popping up, a seasonal produce. So really focus your meals around those. Then when it comes to movement and supporting your body that way, winter is really the time for more gentle exercises. So think about maybe some gentle stretches. Yin yoga is lovely during winter, and also just a nice calming walk in nature. So really enjoy that fresh air on your face and a nice rosy feeling that you tend to get when you go home. To support your mind and your mindset during this time of the year, journaling is a really beautiful practice, again, just like in autumn. This is a time of reflection. Meditation can be super valuable during this time of the year as well. And also know that it is okay to be less productive in winter than you were in the other months. It's fine, it's okay. Like I said, it's a time of hibernation. So it is normal to be less productive during this season. It is really the time to tend to your... I don't know if you can hear this, but June is snoring so loud. Okay. So this is really the time to tend to your inner world, if you will. Also, we are rounding up the year, so take stock of your intentions for maybe next year. And no, you don't have to kind of force anything, really kind of let it come to you more intuitively, if you will. But it is a good time to kind of start thinking about those during this more restful periods of the year. And then really lean into that cozy feeling, the cozy energy of the season. So create those cozy environments with the warm, soft light, the warm, soft textures, and the calming scents. Personally, I really enjoy woodsy scents during this time of the year. Sandalwood is definitely a favorite for me. So inviting some of that into your home is also a beautiful way to kind of celebrate the season that focuses more inwards. And with that, we went through the entire year. So a lot of the changes that we notice during the seasons have to do with hormonal changes that are influenced by the seasons. So certain hormone levels tend to change in our bodies as the seasons change, which really affects how we feel and behave during those seasons. If you would like a video specifically on the hormonal changes in our bodies as we go through the seasons, make sure to comment so down below and let me know. And who knows, I can actually do an entire video on that. With that, I hope this was helpful for you or enjoyable for you. If so, please give me a thumbs up to let me know that it was. Also, make sure to share this video with a friend if you feel like this is going to be helpful for them. With that, I wish you a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!